here I am again by myself because we fire a coach while Jason is out the country. Second, possibly third time, not sure. I know two for sure. Now we have fire managers while Jason's out this country. Just absolutely mind blowing. When the dude leaves the country, if you're a Chelsea manager, you're cursed, you're screwed, you're probably going to get fired. So this is like the third one of these I've done by myself. I did Tommy T, I did Potter, and now I'm doing Maresca. All by myself because Jason's freaking in Italy. So here we are. Yeah. Maresca's gone. Not happy, not sad, indifferent, apathetic, whatever you want to say. I am that. Because this is, once again, not going to solve any problems. Many people have been calling for Maresca to be fired. Did they have valid reasons? I think some of the arguments can be made. His subbing, not great. Tactics, very rigid, not fluid. When he had fluid tactics, when he actually changed the tactics, he proved he could manage. And I don't know what happened this year, why the tactics became more rigid. And I don't know, but that's neither my place to say. Maresca, that's on him to say that. Was it having to do with people meddling? Possibly. We know that Maresca's stubborn. We do know that. That's a fact we can safely say on this podcast, that he is a stubborn son of a bitch. But, and maybe that's why. Maybe, it is what it is. Now, you know there's going to be a PR spin campaign. You know the Matt Walls, the other journalists are going to come out with the PR propaganda for Clear Lake. They're going to come out with, Maresca was a terrible manager. Oh, he was trying to overrule the medical staff, trying to play players when they shouldn't be. You get, he was not interviewing, but he was talking to Juventus and Manchester City. He tried to essentially blackmail the Chelsea board into giving him more power, a longer contract, whatever. Bullshit. I'm throwing the flag on that. Maybe, I don't think Maresca directly talked to him, to Juventus from Man City. Maybe Mendez, had some conversations with him about it. He, if you believe a lot of the reports, he's the handpicked successor to Pep. In Manchester City. So regardless of when Pep leaves, maybe it's the end of this year, maybe it's another 5-year reign of terror that he'll go on in the Premier League. Who the hell knows? But Maresca is apparently high on their list of replacements. Not that they're going to have a problem choosing a manager. I don't know why you would choose Maresca when you can have literally any manager in the world you want would come to Manchester City, with the exception of maybe a few, just because, I don't think Klopp would go there just because of his ties to Liverpool, obviously, but I think you can pretty much have whatever manager you want, and they will give the manager whatever they want. And unlike at Chelsea, and I think part of the problem Maresca had, now when he signed up for this gig a year and a half ago, he signed up and said, I'm okay with the structure of this club. I'm okay with the way Chelsea handles this stuff, that they're just going to give me players and I have to do with them as I must. He doesn't have a choice. He doesn't get a say in recruitment. They might ask his opinion about stuff. He was apparently asked about Garnacho, and he was like, yeah, cool, whatever. Not like his opinion would matter anyway, because they're going to do what they're going to do. The board and the directors of football and the Bali are going to do what they're going to do regardless. It doesn't freaking matter what Maresca said anyway, or what any manager says. So, I don't there's no timeline to lay out. If you've been paying attention, to all of this that's been going on in the last week or two, last month, really. You've seen the writing on the wall. We've talked about it on this podcast. I said my barometer when I know a manager's about to be fired, when Alex Goldberg says something, when he says he's getting frustrated with the manager, stuff like that, that's when I know the manager's about to get sacked. That's my barometer. So I've been expecting this for 2-3 weeks now. Nothing shocking. The 48-hour comment apparently set a lot of people off, caused a lot of rifts internally with Chelsea and Maresca. But then again, who's going to get along with these guys? Who's going to get along with the board? Let's take a little trip down memory lane, if you will, here. Tommy T, the beloved manager at Chelsea, who every fan loved, the majority of fans loved, supported. He won us a Champions League. 7 matches into the next season, he is done. He is finished. Jason is texting me right now. So yeah, I'm going to ask him if he has a statement for the podcast. So just real quick, all right, text him, see if he has a statement for y'all. I will read it later. But back up, Tommy T fired 7 matches into the season, whatever. Why? Didn't get along with the board. His relationship with one person in particular, not great. Igbali, not good, just terrible. So gone, Kuku gone. Hire this next up and coming manager, the next guy, a guy that Jason loved to refer to as the yesest of the yes men. There was nobody that was more of a yes man than Potter. That had more shit on his nose. It was more of a brown noser than Graham Potter. It was more of a robot because he was so trained by Clear Lake with the PR, and he was careful not to say anything, outlandish in his press conference or whatever. There was never any falling out, I think, between Potter and the people at the top. Potter just wasn't a good manager. Like, you just have to recognize what it was. Potter is a 7-tier Swedish football manager, and that's all he'll ever be. Then go on to Lampard, bridge manager, caretaker. Great, never was going to get the job. Lampard, I don't want Lampard ever to come back to this club because what the Chelsea that Lampard was a part of no longer exists. And I don't really want him associated with this regime. Now, if they sell in 7 years and we get another conglomeration, or God forbid the Saudis or another Russian billionaire that's going to sports wash his money through our club, if we get somebody like that in the club that actually is going to put the money into winning trophies again and not just putting the money into flip players to make money, I'm all for Lampard coming back. That's just my 2 cents. I think by then he'll be more seasoned. I mean, he's having a hell of a year this year at Coventry. He's probably going to be in the Premier League next year anyway. I don't see him leaving that situation, regardless if they get promoted. So if they get promoted, I definitely don't see Lampard leaving. But he's not going to leave that in the middle of the season anyway, so irrelevant. So then we bring in probably one of the most hated managers from the start of Chelsea, Pochettino. And it was not great from the start. Poch somehow manages to scrape 6th place, mainly because Cole Palmer carried his ass there. It was the Cole Palmer show, not the Pochettino show. But the one thing Poch did do during that year was complain about the experience in the squad. I need more experience. And for somebody like Pochettino, who literally sat at Tottenham and didn't complain at all when Tottenham gave him absolute shit, comes to Chelsea and we give him absolute shit and he starts complaining. There's shit going on behind the scenes. And it was clear when they did his end of the year review, when they came with their notebook full of stats and XG and all this, there was a clear agenda that they were firing Poch at that point in time. Like, it was like everybody sort of just knew it was just sort of unspoken that in the year Poch was going to be fired. But it had a lot to do because he didn't get along with people there. He didn't get along with the board. He didn't get along with Iqbali. He didn't get along with the directors of football. He was outspoken. He spoke his mind. Okay? Then that brings us to Maresca. We hire Maresca. All is peachy. You think you're getting this guy from the championship that just had his first season managing. He's a Pep disciple. And you get him and he's going to come in. Maybe he'll do good. Maybe he'll do bad. We heard the reports from Leicester fans that he's not the greatest of managers. He's stubborn. He's hard-headed. And he's very rigid with his tactics. His subbing isn't always great. Like, there was always red flags with Maresca before he got here, and all those red flags sort of proved to be true when he did get here. But the one thing that Maresca did was for the first year he just kept his mouth shut. He didn't say anything. He let his results on the pitch do the talking. And you get top 4 and win the Club World Cup. You win the Conference League. You win 2 trophies, and you do finish in the Champions League spot. That's all that was asked of him last year. And he did those things. He checked every box. Like if you're playing EAFC and like you have your objectives every, year when you go into the year, Maresca checked all those objectives. And then this year came around. And because he had success, because he won trophies, he thought he deserved to be backed. The first rift came when Maresca said, we need a new center back after Levi Colwell went down in the summer, tearing his ACL. Nobody, and I mean, there wasn't a single Chelsea fan that disagreed with him. Everybody's like, you're correct, Maresca. You are 100% right about this. We just lost a center back. How can we go on into the season without having another proper center back? We need one. The board didn't listen. The excuse was, I believe that I read that the board told Maresca that if they did sign another center back, that Josh would hand in a transfer request. I don't believe that for a second. Like, I think that's bullshit because he still hasn't played Josh this year at all. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like Maresca, and I don't even want to say it's winning going to your head, because I do feel like if a manager shows success on the pitch, he should be supported by the board. I think that's just a natural progression as you are a manager. If you show results, you get support. But that's not the way Chelsea operates. So whether you disagree or agree with the way Chelsea operates, that's on you. I disagree with it. I think it's a dumb club model. I think the project is just an utter load of bullshit. So, yeah. I mean, and then Maresca, again, he said some other things about, other, I don't even remember what all he said, but he has said other things about the worst 48 hours of his life. Like, there's clearly been other things going on behind the scene. Maresca's got more bold. He said stuff about experience in the squad. Like, that's a common thing that he's brought up. So, again, it's sort of the same thing that got Poch fired. It wasn't the results. And I mean, I don't think that they really had a problem with the one win out of their last 7. I think they use that as the excuse, as the catalyst to fire Maresca. The reason they fired Maresca was because he was outspoken. And I think Maresca sort of had enough of it. He was obviously, I think he just sort of got to the end of his rope. It's like, I'm not going to accomplish anything I want to accomplish here at Chelsea. I've sort of done everything I can do. I'm not going to win versus the board. I'm not going to win versus Igbali. I'm not going to win versus the director of football. Nobody's changing their mind. And he should have known that when he signed up for this. I mean, I do blame Maresca for that part, because it's a model. And this is the second manager in a row that thinks they can come in and sort of change the model. These greedy ass bastards are stuck in their ways. There is no changing their model. There is no changing the way that they think. If they think that they are right, they're not. They think that they're on the right path to doing things. They're not. They say that they're doing it to win championships, to set us up in the future so that we have longevity with these young players. But that's not the reason they're buying them and signing them to long contracts. They're buying them and signing them so they can flip them. It's the most obvious thing in the world. And it's been that way since they took over. The only exception is the first transfer window under the summer with Tommy T. That's because Bowley was jet setting around Europe, trying to buy players, some too good and some too good. I don't know where the hell he was getting these players from. He's pulling some of them out of his ass. But he wanted to spend money to try to win. That's Bowley's philosophy. I talked about in the last episode of the podcast. You go back, you look at the Dodgers. Todd Bowley owns part of the Dodgers. They pay to win championships. That's what Bowley, I truly, honestly believe, wants to do at Chelsea. He wants to essentially be I don't think he'll spend to the extent Abramovich spent, but I do think he would spend. And I do think he would have a better model, because I don't think he would have his nose involved in everything. He would have his people and he would let them do their jobs. That's what I honestly believe would happen. But yeah, we're here because Maresca grew some balls and talked and expressed his opinion, which you're not allowed to have as a Chelsea manager now. You're not allowed to have opinions. And that's my thing. I just love people that just start bringing up all of these managers now. Like, oh, We're going to get Nagelsmann. I love Nagelsmann. Nagelsmann would be my first choice. I love the guy. I think he's a great tactician. I think he's a great manager. I think he's a great man manager. I think he could do great things at Chelsea, but not with this model, not within the way they have it. Nagelsmann's balls are too big. He would end up saying something that would get him fired, and it's just the cycle over and over again. So and we're just stuck in a cycle. And we're going to be, because nobody's changing. Nothing is going to change at this club. That's the problem. There's no adaptation. There's no admitting fault. There's no saying, you know what, I'm going to set my ego aside and I'm going to let people do their damn jobs instead of always sticking my nose into their business, always busting up in the locker room after matches. I'm going to let people that know about the sport of football actually do their damn jobs. And me, an outside person who knows jack shit about this, who is a venture capitalist and knows absolutely nothing about football, I think I know better than the people that do know football. I think this model is sustainable. I think this model will win us championships. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. And these people that are pissed off that Maresca is fired, they got let go. A lot of them won't even say anything bad about the project. They support the project. Well, guys, firing a manager when he speaks out against the project, that's blasphemy in the eyes of our great dictator, Baghdad Bali. You can't speak out against the project. You can't sit there on Twitter and cry, woe is me. How could Chelsea do this? How could they fire Maresca? We have to trust the project. We have to trust the process. This is the process now. This is the way things are going. The project is you fall in line or you get fired. Why do you think Winstanley and Stewart still have jobs? It's not because they're good at their jobs. It's because their noses are covered in brown shit. It's because they are yes men. It's because they are puppets for Bali. They are loyal soldiers to him. That's the reason that they still have jobs. My stance has always been, you can't, if you're going to fire Maresca, you have to fire the two people above him. But I knew that was never going to happen because they're loyal soldiers and Maresca isn't. They're brown nosers and Maresca isn't. A great manager is not going to be a brown noser. A great manager is not going to be a yes man. That's why Chelsea will not have a great manager. That is why we will be stuck with somebody like Liam from Strasbourg. I said on this podcast months ago, I don't remember what brought it up in the conversation. I don't remember what Jason and me were talking about. But I said when Maresca leaves, Liam will be the new manager at Chelsea. It's just the natural progression. It's the way they want to do things. The writing of this has been on the wall since day one. And people are finally starting to wake up to this. But I don't understand what it's taken 3 years. Because it's the same process over and over again. The same thing. The exception to the rule, oddly enough, is Potter. Potter is the only manager that has legit deserved to be fired because of results. The other managers have all been fired because of results. In actuality, it's because they have balls and spoke out against the consortium, against Igbali, against Clear Lake, against the directors of football. That's the real reason. And if you can't see that, then that's on you, man. That's on you, brother, because this shit has been going on for 3 years. We've said it on this podcast. The minute we were hired or bought out by a venture capitalist firm, it was no longer about winning trophies. It was about making money. That's what the project is. And people don't realize that. People sit here and puppet this project line. You got to be buy into the project. You got to buy into the project. They're going to win championships. What in this project has said we want to win championships? What have they done to try and win championships? I just need you to name me one thing that Clear Lake has done to try and win championships. You can't say the Conference League because we literally won the Conference League with a backup team. The Club World Cup was the players willing and Maresca's tactics. It didn't have anything to do with Clear Lake. The same players that played in that Club World Cup are the same players here now that just lost, that have won one of their last 7 matches. It's the same players. I'm telling you, this is the model is buy low, sell high, flip players, make money. Why do you think we have a multi-club model? It isn't to have a sister club, somebody that we can support. No, it's to have a feeder club. It's to have somebody that we can transfer assets between. I don't totally disagree with the multi-club model. I think the way that Clear Lake does it is shady as hell. And that's what people, I just don't understand. The project is making money. The project is not winning trophies. And the sooner people start to realize that, the sooner people start to get their mind wrapped around that, the sooner that you will start to realize we are now a club of mediocrity. And we will be until we are sold. We are no longer a top 6 club in England, in my opinion. Maybe we still are just because of the other clubs that are involved. We are no longer fighting for top 4. We're fighting for relevancy, and we're fighting for mediocrity. Like, that's where we are. We were lucky not to get freaking relegated 2 years ago. 2.5 years ago. And you're sitting here preaching to me about the project. They have had 1, 2, 3. 3.5, 4 decent signings since they've been here. Esteval, Palmer, Caicedo. I'm blanking. Maybe you can count Enzo Fernandez in that. That's it. That's the Cucurella. Cucurella was a good sign, but that was bowling. That wasn't this new strategy that they had. That wasn't under the Igbali banner. That was a Bowley signing. So do with that as you will. And I think that's the only thing that's going to save this club is if Uncle Todd steps in and says, F you, Bowley, or F you, Igbali, F you, and Stanley and Stewart. I've got the capital. I'm buying out your 61% share or whatever Clear Lake owns. And I'm actually going to go do what y'all say y'all are trying to do. I'm actually going to go invest the money in proper players that have proper experience, that aren't just 17, 18, 19-year-olds that we're taking a gamble on and hoping that they come good. I'm going to go buy proper experienced players, mix them with the youth. I'm still going to hold to that, somewhat of that model, buying youth players, because there is something to that. There is something to buy. Like Esteval is a great example of that. Quinde next year, I truly believe will be an example of that. Buying these young assets is not a bad thing. It is a great thing. It's what you do with those assets, though. And in 2 to 3 years, I'm going to tell everybody I told you so when we sell Esteval. So that's where we are. I'm going to read you Jason's statement. He just sent me a lengthy statement. So this is Jason's words right here. Per usual, Chelsea Football Club continue to operate this once great club like a bunch of chuckle fucks. This is going to be great. If their brain were dynamite, there wouldn't be enough to blow the hat off their head. That being said, Daniel and I always said we would assess Maresca at the end of 2025. True, we started to assess him a few weeks ago, and Jason reminded me that we said this, so we had to stop. And as we said in the great cinematic classic, A Knight's Tale, Maresca has been weighed, he has been measured, and he has been found wanting. There is no good scenario because Igbali and the sporting directors keep placing the club in a position in which no good decisions can be made. Facts. This is a bed they have all made, and unfortunately, we have to lie in it. A big pile of shit is what we're lying in right now. Bunch of shitheads, the lot of them. End quote. Yeah, that's Jason. Thing. Chuckle Fox is fantastic. Great line. But yeah, he's right. He's right. They've made this bed that we're all having a line that we have to watch week in and week out. They've done. The bed is the freaking project. You morons that keep touting the freaking project. If I have to hear about the freaking project one more time, swear to God, I love Twitter. But the shitheads on there that keep talking about this damn project need to get to their freaking thick heads that the project is flipping players and making money. And the project is not winning trophies. Been saying that for 3 years. This podcast has never once wavered from that opinion. Jason and myself have had that opinion since day one of the Clear Lake takeover. Go back and listen to our podcast about it. It's one of our very first episodes. We talk about what this means for the future of Chelsea. And we said, this is not about the trophies. It is about the money. We're owned by freaking venture capitalists, people. How do y'all not know what venture capitalists do? They run businesses into the ground and sell them. They were trying to recoup their assets. Why do you think they keep selling everything off to themselves? Because that's what they do. Go look up Toys R Us. Go look and see what happened to Red Lobster. Those businesses literally had the land underneath them sold out from underneath them, and then were forced to pay rent on top of it. The only thing that has stopped these bastards from doing any more damage to this club is the fact that the CPO owns everything Chelsea. They own the stadium, they own the badge. That is the only thing that has saved this club from going into ruin, from being completely stripped of our assets. You'll realize we only have 2 assets left, right? We have Cobham and we have the bridge, which they can't touch the bridge. They can't touch the name Chelsea. They can't do anything with that. All they can do is strip Cobham from us now. And it's coming. I'm telling you, it's freaking coming. Been saying it for a year and a half now. When they sold off the hotel, the women's team, when they ran out of assets to sell off, Cobham's next. Just get ready. It's at least 7 more years of this bullshit unless Uncle Todd saves us. And I pray to God he does. I pray to God that he does save us. And I pray to God that it's sooner rather than later. So Uncle Todd, if you're listening to this, I'm begging you, from one Chelsea fan to another Chelsea fan, I speak for all the Chelsea fan base. I think at this moment, save us from the vortex that is Blueco. Save us from this shit. Follow us. Twitter, Instagram, Red, White, Blues FC. We're on Substack. If you want to read more thoughts, I go deeper into it. Wrote an article on it today, breaking it down. Go over to our Substack. Check that out, Red, White, Blues FC. Like, subscribe, follow. If you're watching on YouTube, we're also on Apple, Spotify, where you listen to your podcast at these days. And until next time, we'll catch you guys and gals on the flip side.